Hi, hello everyone who is watching us live right now. I would love to welcome you to another episode of Teacher Mindset Matters. And this episode's name is How to Tame Your Controller and Hyperachiever Saboteurs. So I would love to know, first of all, who is joining us right now and where you are joining us from. So you can just write that in the comments so that I know that you are joining us from certain countries and I can connect with you even more. Maybe I have traveled to the countries where you are connecting from and joining from. And also, I just wanted to remind you that in the previous session, we actually spoke about saboteurs. So this term may already be familiar to those of you who have who were here in the previous session. And also, we specifically spoke about the judge saboteur and the stickler or perfectionist saboteur. So it was quite a good session for those of you who may have identified yourselves with these two saboteurs and you learn the sage steps you can take to overcome your judge saboteur, to overcome your perfectionist saboteur, and to step into your sage mode. So I want to again welcome those of you who are joining now, and I can see Noma Zibulo is joining from South Africa, Limpopo province. I wish I could travel there. And Noma Zibulo. I've never been there, but now at least I know where you are joining us from. So greetings to South Africa. I'm right now recording this live session from Slovakia, as I'm spending my Christmas time with my parents. So this is where I am joining this live session from. Now, again, just a reminder: today's session is going to be about controller and hyperachiever saboteurs, and I want to see if you resonate with any of this. So maybe you may find out by the end of this session I do have the tendencies of a controller saboteur, or I do have the tendencies of a hyperachiever saboteur. So even if you just become aware by the end of the session has been already successful for you. Now, if you find out and identify yourself like, yes, I think I do have behaviors and tendencies of this controller saboteur, and now I even know what to do to overcome that and to step into this sage mode, the wiser me. I mean, like, this is amazing. That's like a whole new level of the experience for you in this session. And if you even maybe manage to go through the experiences from your past or maybe potential experiences in your future and see how you can be careful and mindful of these saboteurs, that's even better. So as you can see, there can be different possible scenarios, but one thing what I would say for sure is that your outcome or your results depend on how much of yourself you put into this. So if you want to get 100% of results, you have to put 100% of yourself into this session. So who is going to be present here and really implementing what we are going to talk about? I can see Marianne is joining from Ireland. Yes. And thank you so, Marianne. Yes, so much. Yes, I'm already spending my time with my family, but we are actually going to go and spend that time in the mountains over the Christmas time in about 10 days. So I'm really excited about it. But right now, I'm just calling from my family's house. So I'm very happy to be here. Great. So, who is ready to start with today's session? Who is ready? Just say ready in the chat box because I want to share a few things with you before we even get into this saboteurs explanation. So, what I want to share with you is this Teacher Mindset Matters link that most of you already have, and that's why you are in this session. But basically, if you respond here or if you read this, and if you want to join the live sessions, so this is where you need to respond to. And you can even watch the previous recordings of those live sessions, and it will ask you even to add those live sessions into your calendar. So if you click on respond, you'll be able to add your full name. So let's say I would just use mine as an example, and this way you will be reminded every other week of these sessions, as these sessions are happening every other week. and they are on different mindset topics for teachers. Good. So this is my email. That's what you would do as well. And then if you register, it will automatically be part of your calendar if you click on it, right? So you can click on it and just, have it as part of your calendar, save it, and that's it. So please just make sure you have this link so that you are notified of all the future events. So that's one thing. And also, I wanted to remind you of something that I don't know if you're aware, but at Bowie is where we help teachers become more prosperous, prestigious, and earn more money. We have different free events. So this is just one of them, but we have another free event for those of you who would like to become independent and find your students on social media. We have a free niche teaching workshop, which is happening on the 23rd. Of December. So this is the best Christmas gift to yourself. If you want to earn more money, make more impact, and become independent as a teacher, you just need to enroll here for free, and then you can just follow the instructions that you need to do. But this is a very good workshop, again, for those of you who are ready already, like, yes, I want to do something which is just my own. I want to be independent and know how to find my own students on social media. Let me just share this with you so that you can actually attend those sessions. And now we can just dive into the today's topic. Let me just share my screen with you, as it's going to be a little bit easier if I show my screen to all of you. Okay, so in the previous session, we spoke about two saboteurs, and just a quick reminder. The saboteur, what it is, so it's a negative voice, self-sabotaging thought or behavior in your mind that holds you back. So if you ask, like, what is a saboteur? What is self-sabotage? This is what it is. It's when we want to achieve some kind of results, but we can't because there is this negative voice which is preventing us or discouraging us from achieving it and holding us back. And we already mentioned these 10 saboteurs. So it's judge, stickler, controller, hyperachiever, hyper-rational, hyper-vigilant, pleaser, avoider, victim, and restless. In the last session, we went over this judge and stickler. Stickler is perfectionist, in other words. And in today's session, we are going to talk about controller and hyperachiever saboteurs. So let me just share very quickly the slide I want to show you. Controller. So who here thinks that you may have the tendencies of a controller? Somebody who wants to control situations or maybe even people's actions. So who thinks that you may have the tendencies to control things way too much? Just let me know in the comments below. Who feels like, oh yes, I may have some tendencies to control things way too much and be attached to the outcome quite a lot. And I will share then some things with you. I can see more people joined, by the way. So Ricardo is here. Jeanette joined as well, even though she's not able to stay for too long. That's okay, Jeanette. So hopefully you can join for at least a little bit. So who here feels like, okay, I sometimes may have tendencies of a controller? The reason why I'm asking is because these saboteurs that we have, the inner negative voice, are preventing us or discouraging us from really taking the right action or just making any progress. And sometimes we are not even aware of it. And that's even worse, because if we are not even aware of it, we can't do anything about it. And again, just to make it clear, a controller is actually an anxiety-based need to control situations and people and people's actions. And this can be really bad in any form, like if we do it to our colleagues or to our students or even to our family members or to our friends. But I want to make something very clear. So with all these saboteurs that we are going to speak about, and actually Nomazibul is saying I'm one of them. Me too, by the way, me too. So all of us have at least one saboteur which is judge. We all of us have this saboteur, and then the rest of the saboteurs are accomplice saboteurs. So I also have tendencies to show this controller saboteur, and we are going to dive in deeper into this saboteur just to see what it is and how we can actually prevent it from happening, or how we can actually weaken that saboteur. So I want to ask you, if you think about the saboteurs and you think about natural strengths each saboteur has, then I want you to take it to another level and think about these saboteurs as overused strengths. So each saboteur has natural strengths, but when we overuse them, they are overused strengths, and that's why it's called saboteur. So now, if we have to extract natural strengths from this, what do you think the natural strengths of somebody who has the saboteur of controller can be? So, what do you think? Because there are very good and many good things about this quality. What strengths can somebody in a saboteur mode of a controller can have? Just give me some examples in the chat box, and then I will add more examples that I have. So first of all, this is why we are doing it, because if we just think about this as a bad thing, we will never be able to extract gifts and learn the balance. Okay, so the balance, how we can just mainly focus and use those strengths, but not overuse them. So in a word or two, or maybe even in a sentence or two, what do you think the natural strengths can be of somebody who can control situations and things? Maybe I can give you the first example and then I will read yours as well. So somebody who is or who has the tendencies of a controller can be quite persistent, and that's not a bad trait. We have a lot of teacher entrepreneurs who start their niche teaching business and then they quit after month two because they are not getting students straight away. So somebody who is persistent is actually amazing quality. Honestly, I think if there are three qualities you need to have as an entrepreneur, persistence is one of those. Jeanette is saying one strength is that we care about the well-being of our family members. For example, yes, Jeanette, exactly. So we do care about people around. So is this kind of like care? And very often even kind of like action oriented. So we care about people and we take action to help them to care about them. Nomazibulo says, hope for better tomorrow goes with passion. Yes, definitely. So another strength can be somebody who is willful. So when you have will to do something and you actually do it, so that's not a bad thing. This is amazing. Or even when you are decisive. So the natural strength from here is you're being decisive. You know what to do and you do it. And that's amazing, because how many people just waste their time thinking and considering things and thinking again. So being decisive is amazing if we just extract this quality. Or even just being confident. Wow, that's an amazing skill or trait to have, to be confident. But now I want to just make something clear. These are great strengths, and when they come from the sage mode. So the natural strengths come from the sage mode. And in this sage mode, sage means the wiser you, the you which is calm, uh, yes, which is the kind of higher version of you. In this mode, you can be persuasive. You can persuade people, and persuading people is a great thing if we can persuade people or inspire people. So imagine you can inspire and persuade your students to take action or to do things. This is amazing, right? Because if you didn't have this quality, people wouldn't be taking actions or people wouldn't be doing certain things. Or even if it's coming from the sage mode, you're able to lead people, which is great, right? Because having a leader you can follow and be inspired by, it's something amazing. So who of you would like who of you thinks you have at least one quality that I mentioned right now, these strengths that I mentioned? So persistent, willful, confident, action oriented, decisive, uh, persuasive, inspiring, or being able to lead. Just mention me, or just even mention the quality you think you have. which is amazing because I want to congratulate you on this. Ricardo is saying detailed. Yes, that's a good one. Detailed it can be, but actually, I would say detailed when somebody wants to be very detailed is even more of a perfectionist and stickler. When you want to have things certain way, and if they are not certain way and you don't have control over it, you become this perfectionist. Yes, Marianne, good at managing and good at leading. That is true. Yes, that is true. And it's very important that we can see this in ourselves because if we can see that there are actually strengths in each saboteur, then we can do something about those weaknesses, meaning when those strengths become overused. And we are going to speak about it right now, what it means when strength becomes overused when it comes to this controller saboteur. Nicola is saying, I'm persistent. You definitely are, Nicola. So I've had the honor to work with Nicola for some time. And following our coaching sessions, I can say definitely that Nicola doesn't give up that easily, which is amazing, right? Because as an entrepreneur, in 99% of the cases, there are always exceptions, but 99% of the cases, things usually don't happen straight away and things don't go well or things are challenging at the very beginning. And if somebody manages to be persistent and doesn't give up, it's amazing. Um, Marianne is saying persuasive as passionate about what I do. Yes, exactly. So when we are persuading, it means we need to be passionate about what we are doing. That's why we can talk about it. And Eddie is saying, I'm persistent, willful, and persuasive at my best. Exactly. And what Eddie is saying here, at his best, it means when he is in his sage mode. Sage mode is our best self. And the saboteur mode is when we are sabotaging ourselves. And as I explained in the previous sessions already, the saboteurs are developed when we are children, and they are a form to protect us and to make sure we are worth of love. That's why we develop them. So somebody who wants to feel loved and feel worthy as a child may control things too much. So for example, this is one of my examples if I have to be quite personal now. So when I was a child, I looked after my siblings already at the age of 7. My sister was 6 years younger and my brother just 1.5 years because I was the eldest one and we were raised up on a farm and my dad was working in a mine. My mom was working like in the household and in the fields with the animals and everything. It had to be me sometimes who had to cook or prepare food or just change nappies of my sister and just to make sure my brother behaves as well and different things. So I developed the saboteur of being a controller and I wanted to have things under control to kind of sh- like in a way deserve love from my parents and feel worthy. And we developed that because of the circumstances we are raised up in, which is okay because it protects us. So there is nothing wrong with that when we are children. But when it becomes a problem is when we are adults and we still follow these saboteur behaviors and there is no reason for it, right? So we don't need to do it because actually it's getting us farther from our desired state or goals. And exactly what I mentioned before is that when you operate from a sage mode, you are persuasive, willful, inspiring, and leading. But what is happening when you overdo it? So let me just share another slide with you. Okay, so this is the controller, but when you overdo it, things start being a little bit worse or more challenging. So what it means, let's say you really want to convert a potential student into a real student in your sales session and you control the whole session way too much, meaning you are rigidly fixated on the outcome. So basically you're attached to desired outcome. You just want to win that session. You just want to get that student and on your own time at all costs and in your own way. And that's what I was doing, for example, when I was starting my journey as a teacher entrepreneur, um, which was about 4 years ago, when I had sales sessions, I wanted to convert all of them into wins. And in that session, so I was making them commit to working with me in that session, but they were not ready, many of them, and they just wanted to get to know me better and maybe do it later at their own pace or time. And I just wasn't happy with that because I was fixated too much on kind of like getting them as my students. So I was showing this controller saboteur. And of course, when we do that, there is this big lie in the saboteur. So the saboteur is telling us that I can help you because if I take charge of the things, if I control things, I will have wins. We will win. So basically, if I convert the student in a strategy session, it's a win. Well, it could be a win, short-term win, yes, because they would pay, let's say they would sign up, but maybe later on they weren't ready to really fully put their attention and their time into this program. So maybe it can be a short-term win, but it's actually a long-term loss or even diminished outcome because maybe they would just quit after 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and they will even ask for all the money back, or maybe they will not give a good review. So what is very important to remember is that when this saboteur is trying to tell you, you must have this at this time, on these terms, or in this way, because otherwise you will lose or you will be a loser. But if you get it this way, you will win. And again, this is not always true. Actually, very often we may lose the short-term things to win the long-term goals. And it's very important for us to realize this. Let me see some comments. Marianne is saying, same, I'm also a first child. Yes, it has a lot of positives as well, of course. But one of those was like I had to learn the ways how to manage my two younger siblings, and I became quite controlling to get my authority at the age of 7 for my siblings to really follow what I said. And Ricardo is saying, I can be a bit of controller. Yes. And that's okay. So the first thing is just to be aware. So the steps for us to switch from a controller to a sage mode and tap more into these strengths is to, number one, catch that saboteur. So catch it, become aware of it. That's number one. Number two is to weaken it. So first you need to become aware of something you can weaken. And the number three, how can I shift into the sage mode? So you become aware when you have those tendencies to control things too much and push things too much. And then you can think about how can I actually shift this into a sage mode. So what do you think? Now I want to hear from you. How can you shift this controller behavior into a more sage mode? What can you tell to someone, even to your students, let's say, if they want to improve certain parts of their language or skill they are learning with you, and they are too controlling of the way they want to get their results? So maybe they just want to study this certain, like in this particular way for them to learn this pronunciation or vocabulary, but maybe there is a more flowing way they can do. But what would you say to your students? And that's the same thing what you can say to yourself. Be calm. Ricardo is saying be calm. I like this one. Anybody else? What else can you do? What else can you do? Because very often what is happening is that when we are controlling things, we are in this high stress. There is a lot of frustration because we don't get it by that time. So very often, even like when people set goals, we help teachers set their goals, and sometimes they just don't achieve their goal by the time they said they would achieve it, and they become really upset and take it very personally and become frustrated. So in this case, what we can say to someone else, okay, Peter is saying surrender. I love this word, surrender. Yes, that's a very good one. So Ricardo is saying be calm, Peter is saying surrender, and Eddie is saying, yes, the third step is key. While recognizing and eliminating the saboteur are important actions, as you well know, taking action to replace the negative emotion will allow it to seep back into. Yes, that's a good point, Eddie. So becoming aware is just the first step. And then what do we do with that awareness? How can we weaken that saboteur and more strengthen our sage mode? Nomazibole is saying observe thoroughly before acting. Yes, so this can be a very good way too. What I would say here, what I would say here, the best way, the best question you can ask yourself and do is to yes, is to ask yourself, how could I make it more of a pull and not push? So how can I make it more into more of a pull and not push? And this is the question that is very important, because how can I make it more enjoyable for me, more flowing, without controlling things too much, without wanting my students to do things in a certain way, even though maybe that way is not the best way for them. So, how can I help them achieve what I want to achieve, but in a less controlling way? Or even how I can achieve what I want to achieve. Let's say I want to become a teacher entrepreneur and I want to have 10 students a month, 10 new students a month. And then how can I become more flowing, more in a way, flowing and enjoy the way as I get these 10 students? And this is a very, very good question, because usually when we act from a sage mode, it's in this calm way, surrendered way, um, when we take action. But when we are acting from the saboteur mode, we feel like we are pushing things too much, controlling them too much. And to be honest, they are not even enjoyable anymore. Peter is saying by engagement. Yes, exactly. We can engage our students if we want to help them achieve certain results. And maybe that engagement can look different, or maybe we can even experiment the way we can engage with our students to get them to do certain things, or maybe even let them choose which way they want to do that certain thing or achieve that certain outcome. And when we act from the sage mode, when we take sage steps, there is more innovation. So we become more creative and innovative. Like, how can we achieve this? So, like, how can I achieve having 10 students every single month? And there are so many different options. It's not just one we maybe get fixated at. Or even, how can I have my students pronounce this sound in the correct way? And there are maybe, Marian would tell us, because Marian is a pronunciation coach, but maybe there are 20 different ways how we can guide them by engaging with them yes, in different ways for them to get the results they want to get. So it doesn't have to be just one way. And very often, when we ask ourselves, like, how can I make this more of a pull and not push? We become more empathetic and curious about things. And these are all qualities, so collaboration, innovation, curiosity, empathy, that are coming from the sage mode, not from a saboteur mode. Dina is saying, take the time and not be afraid of failure. Yes, so that's a very good point and part of it. I like that, Dina. So very often when we control things too much, it's because we are afraid of making a mistake or fail. So that's why we want to control things too much. And by learning how to make mistakes and be proud of them, we are more likely to be flowing through that situation wherever we are going through. Um, so yes, that was a good example. Um, yeah, let me know if you have any other questions or maybe comments, because in a minute or so we are going to continue with the second saboteur. And actually, this session today, these two saboteurs, when I did this assessment, saboteur assessment, were my most like top two saboteurs. So the judge is always there, but these accomplished saboteurs, controller and hyperachiever, are my top saboteurs. So all of us have them, but the point is to learn how to manage them, how to weaken them, and how to strengthen the sage. Eddie is saying, let me just read his comment. It's like when we are encouraged in school as teachers to give teenage students something to do, as the control of telling kids to be quiet is sabotage, it doesn't let them make informed decisions. Yes, that's a very good point, Eddie. And these are the questions we need to ask ourselves every time when we are in a situation, and try to kind of detect from our body, like, does it feel like a push what I'm doing right now, or like a pull? Does it feel like it's coming from my sage mode, from my empowering way of doing things, or am I just being sabotaging myself and even my students as I do it? So again, how can I make it more of a pull and not a push? That's the question, okay? That's the sage step. Now, who is ready to continue with the next saboteur, which is hyperachiever? Just let me know in the comments and say, yes, I'm ready. Just let me know in the comments. Hyperachiever. Who is ready? Ready. Nicola is ready. Okay, great. Eddie is ready as well. So let me just continue with the next one. So, hyperachiever, what it is the inner voice that drives you to constantly chase success and recognition, making you tie your self worth to what you accomplish. So, let me just explain that to you in other words. It's this kind of hyperachiever, and then you will tell me if this resonates with you, if you feel like you do have some behaviors or tendencies to be the hyperachiever. Maybe it's not strong in your case. In my case, it was very strong. That's why I worked on this saboteur the whole year last year. So that's why I learned a lot of things about why I was having that behavior and how I could change it. So this hyperachiever is when you have this conditional self-love. Why conditional? Because conditional self love means that your love and worth depends on your performance, on your achievements, on your success. So if I'm achieving, if I'm performing, I'm worthy of love. If I'm not performing, if I'm not achieving, I don't deserve love. So this love is conditional love. And we achieve things and become successful, or like we, yes, have one achievement after another just to earn some love from others and even from ourselves. And yes, again, it's this constant performance dependence, um, for exchange in love, with self-love, self-respect, and self-validation. So again, we feel worthy, respected, and acknowledged or validated just because of our performances. Now, who here feels like, I think I may have some kind of tendencies to show this behavior? Again, I'll be sharing some of my personal examples, as I definitely resonated with this. And there is one coach I actually worked with again for 1.5 years on this saboteur, because it was so strong for me that it was really not helpful and sustainable for me to go like this. And again, there are many instances from my childhood when I wanted to earn love from my parents and from other family members by me achieving things, and the things I was achieving already as a little child. I was just 6 years old, and I learned how to write and read before I even started my school. I just went on 1 week holiday to my grandmother, and she just wanted to show some letters to me and to write my name, my family's name, and everything. And I came back home. This was just 1 week before I started my school, and I already knew how to read and write. So that was quite like great success, right, as a child to do that. And then I learned that the more kind of greater achievements I achieved as a child, the more love I gained from my parents. And then I made this equation in a way like, okay, the more achievements, the more love, the more self-worth. And then there were other things when I was really performing well at school, and I was performing so well, then some teachers were saying that she's so good at what she is doing that we could very easily, like she could easily skip 2 classes, like 2 years. So I was in the first year, and they said like with the skills she already has, she could be very easily in the third year. And they were repeating this quite often to my parents. And of course I heard it. And I felt like, okay, I am loved just because I'm achieving things and I'm successful. Maybe I didn't use these words as a child, but these are the associations I made. Now I'm studying it from kind of adult point of view, but at that time, I I wanted to achieve more things just to have more love and respect from my parents and from people I loved. So who here again resonates with this? Nomazibula says yes, and Eddie as well. This one feels very strong. Yeah, Eddie, I can definitely resonate with this one because I was, yes, I definitely had the tendencies. Now, I want to make something very clear. So, now being a healthy achiever or being an achiever, it's not a bad thing. When we can have this balance there and we can keep it in these healthy boundaries or in a sustainable way, it's actually a great thing that you can achieve things in life. And I want to hear from you right now. What are the natural strengths of a hyperachiever? What do you think? Give me examples. Somebody who is achieving things in life, what are the natural strengths? And maybe even share which ones you have. Yes, Eddie. Eddie is saying feeling enough and being worthy are such inherent drivers. Yes. So these saboteurs make us feel that they are there for us to help us deserve more love and worth. But it's conditional love, which kind of you achieve one thing as a hyperachiever, like great thing, great success, you feel loved, but then for the 95% of the journey, you feel miserable and unhappy because you don't feel worthy. So we feel worthy when we achieve this big thing, because when we achieve things, right, this is the top, let's say mountain, Mount Everest, right? And just the time we spend kind of enjoying that achievement and sharing with the others is maybe 5% of our journey, if even, maybe even 1%. And the rest, 99% of the journey, is actually the process that very often we don't feel worthy even enough because we are still not achieving, we are just in the process. um, and the strengths, natural strengths, are perseverance, yes, most definitely. And Eddie is saying driven, determined, hyper focused, though the latter could easily become sabotage. Yes. Okay, so that's a very good point. Exactly. So it's driven, determined, hyper focused, pragmatic, achievement oriented, goal focused, self directed, and somebody who wants continuous growth all the time. So these are good things, and we should cherish them and appreciate them because these make us into healthy achievers. And there is nothing wrong with achieving things in life. It's actually great because if we are stagnating in where we are in our lives, that's not good because we are supposed to grow as human beings constantly, and especially as teachers, because we are guiding others how to learn and how to grow. So of course we need to grow ourselves. So being a healthy achiever is a great thing. Now, how to become one, or when things are extreme. So what do you think when things are becoming already bad or too much, when you are in this extreme mode of hyperachiever? Share this in the comments with me. It can lead to burnout. Yes, Marianne. Hmm. That's what happened to me earlier this year. Most definitely. Yes, because um, when we are in this extreme mode, we have these workaholic tendencies, which is kind of like our work depends on our work and achievements in our work so much. So burnout is a consequence of it. So that's a very good point. What other things it can be? We lose balance, right? We lose balance. And of course, the kind of the healthy balance is when you know what you want to achieve in your life because you give your brain enough focus, but at the same time, you make sure you enjoy the journey. So it's not just about this 1%, but you're at the top, you're celebrating your achievement and achieving that, but it's the whole journey. And sometimes the whole journey again takes 1 year, and that the day when you are celebrating your achievement and sharing it may take just 1 day or 3 days. And when we are miserable and unhappy this 1 year and then super happy for 3 days, well, that's extreme. Eddie is saying allowing your mood to be based on external validation. Exactly, exactly. So this love, the love, self-love, is not a true, real self-love that comes from inside you, no matter what you achieve or what you do, but it's coming from external circumstances or external sources. When you achieve something, you feel like I'm good enough. Yes, that's a good point. So is this kind of hyperachieving is this constant state of Anxiety and also being impatient, like, oh, when will I achieve it? I still haven't achieved it. And it's even kind of comparing ourselves to others in this case. And what is very important, when we really want things so much, we are not even able to share this goal with others. So it's just very often just our goal, not others. And then it becomes kind of less inspiring and less collaborative, right? When we just want, even let's say, um, our students to achieve something very much because this will make us a good teacher, but we don't really share this goal with them and we don't enjoy the process with them as they learn that particular sound, or as they learn that particular vocabulary or grammar. So it's really being present there with your students and enjoy the process as well. um, Dina is saying inner will and motivation to learn. Yes, for me, it was to feel worthy mainly for myself, but it was hard work, but at the same time, rewarding. Yes, so it should be the inner motivation or feeling this inner strength and even inner self love where you feel loved despite you not achieving things, or despite you just being on your way towards that achievement you want to achieve. And the big lie of this saboteur is I can help you achieve more, maybe to have more, to be more, to grow more. But actually, if this is not true, the hyperachiever doesn't help, the saboteur doesn't help, because in fact, it helps you achieve less and not more. The reason for that is because you are really happy on the way towards that thing you want to achieve. You are more kind of like unhappy and sad, and your again worthiness depends on your achievement. So that's not really success. And this saboteur, when it's trying to tell you, oh, let's achieve more, let's just be only happy when we are achieving this and feel like we are worthy only then. But actually, again, this is not real happiness. So it's a lie coming from this saboteur. And what do you think the sage steps would be? So how can you shift to the sage from here? What do you think? What can you do to shift to the sage from this hyperachiever saboteur? What things can you do to weaken this saboteur and to strengthen your sage, the wiser you, the calmer you, the part of you that knows best and better? So it's the positive voice, right? In your mind, in your brain, not the negative one. So the saboteur is the negative one that tries to hold you back. But what about the sage mode of a hyperachiever? How how would you shift into the sage step? Nikolai is saying, meditate, affirmation cards. Okay. So by meditating, you become more present, right? Present to what it is and enjoy where you are. That's a very good point, Nikolai. What other ways come to your mind that you can be more of a healthy achiever and step more into this sage mode? So there is one question you can ask yourself. What is that question? What is the question? Yes, the question is, how could I detach from the outcome and make the journey more compelling? So that's what Nicola mentioned. Meditate and be present to where you are. Enjoy the process. Enjoy this 95 or 99% of your journey, and not just this 1% where you are at the top. Enjoy everything. And yes, how can I detach from the outcome? So, very important thing. And some people said it actually, that it's so important to set goals, because if you don't set goals, you don't even know. You will be climbing mountains anyway in your life because life is challenging. But if you don't set the right goal that you want from the bottom of your heart, you might be just climbing up the wrong mountain. So the work will be still hard, but you won't even enjoy the journey. So it's important to set the goal. So it's important to know which mountain you want to climb up to. And then, in a way, to forget about that mountain because you already know the way or figured it out, and just focus on the journey. Enjoy the view, enjoy maybe the company of other people as well. um, Enjoy everything you encounter on this journey. So it's not just about this being at the top. So again, setting goals is great, and being a healthy achiever is great, but not being attached to the outcome so much. So maybe even to kind of forget about your goal in a way and enjoy the journey, and then reconnect with your goal again if you feel like you are at the crossroads as you are climbing up and you don't know which way should I go. Remind yourself, this is the goal I want to achieve. Oh, okay, so this is the way I need to go right now. And then again, when you're on that path, just enjoy the present moment. Um, Let me just read other comments. So Eddie is saying, the sage feels and offers to others a sense of worthiness on the journey, avoiding limiting this feeling to only at milestones. Yes, the positive sense excuse throughout. So basically, from what I understand, Eddie, what you are saying, um, it's important to have the goal and to feel your own worthiness, not just when you are at the top of the mountain. I guess that's what you're saying. And Nobel Sibulo is saying capacitated in leadership and coaching. Yes. So that's very good. And Maya actually joined as well, saying that we should celebrate little wins. Exactly, exactly, exactly. That's what we should do. And it's very healthy to actually have healthy milestones. So it's good to have a big worthy goal, like you want to climb the Mount Everest, but there are a lot of base camps. Maybe, I don't know, because I've never climbed it. But maybe there are 10 base camps as you get to the Mount Everest. So you should stop at each milestone and celebrate, and not even each milestone, each step you should celebrate, right? But like even proper celebration at each milestone, and feel that happiness, like how much you have achieved. And it's always good to kind of like review if the goal is the right goal for you to go, because if not, you may just choose another mountain to climb, and there's nothing wrong with it. But very important for those of you, and I am part of that group as well, just to enjoy the process and not just to be fixated so much to this outcome and this one particular goal. Yes, Eddie, you're welcome. I love using analogies, and the more the better. So today we spoke about, I can see more people join a little bit later now, but today we spoke about two very common saboteurs, which is controller and hyperachiever. I want to learn from you, or I want to hear from you, what takeaways you have had so far after hearing about these two saboteurs. What was the thing maybe you resonated with you, or you learned something new, or maybe you realized you knew this, but now you want to implement it? What was it? If you can just let me know. And in the meantime, what I want to do, I want to share with you again, because some of the people joined later. So I want to make sure you know how you can watch the previous recordings from these mindset sessions. And there will be another one actually in 2 weeks' time. It will be a Christmas special mindset metas session where I will share 3 special mindset gifts with you in that session. And if you want to sign up for that session, so this is how you do it. So you just it will be Cindy's the next session. So you just need to then respond. I already did it right now. I don't know if I can show it to you again. So let me just show it to you again. Maybe I can start from the beginning. Okay, so now, so let's say this event for the Wednesday 25th of December. I will just click on respond, and then I will put it as part of my into my calendar. Okay, so register, and then it will ask me if I want to add it to my calendar. So that's how you can register for the next event. And you can even share it with other teachers if you think that some other people may find it useful and get a bit of help with mindset. Please do share it with others. I'm going to share this link with you right now, and then I will read your takeaways. And as well, those of you who came a little bit later now, I want to share with you one event we have for free. It may be something that may be actually helpful if you are just thinking to start being independent as a teacher, earn more money, and have more impact on your students. We have a free niche teaching workshop on the 23rd of December. So it's 12 days from now, and you can enroll for free. and then you will see the assignments you need to do there. But this workshop is going to help you learn how you can define your niche, a group of students you would like to work with, and you can charge them more and make more impact. So you can enroll for free. I will just share this link with you, just in case this may be helpful to you. And these are all free events that we have, and even these mindset sessions are free every other Wednesday. So the takeaways I can see, Eddie is saying, main takeaway is pull is a stronger motivator than push. Yes, definitely, Eddie, and it's more enjoyable and it's more inclusive, because when we pull things, people are more pulled towards us. People don't feel pushed to do certain things, and we are more likely to achieve our goal and even have fun. So imagine you would be walking or climbing up this Mount Everest by yourself for, I don't know how long it takes, let's say 1 month. I really don't know. I'm just guessing now. So it's less enjoyable than, let's say, going with a group of people there and celebrating every small step and base camp together. So it's more of a pull, more enjoyable. Um, and we are not pushing. That's a good takeaway. So if any of you have more takeaways, please just share them with us before we end this session. Or maybe if you have any comments or any questions, maybe how to apply it even more to your situation, just let me know. Dina is saying the best thing is to tune in to your body and be mindful. Yes, exactly. So our bodies are connected with our minds, and by us being mindful and being present in our bodies, we interrupt these mind patterns, and very often there are some negative self-sabotaging thoughts we have. So if we become present in our body, we interrupt them. And in the previous sessions, I don't know, Dina, if you were here before, but I was sharing PQ reps, which are mental exercises which take 10 seconds, and you do them to interrupt mind pattern or mind negative self talk, and focus on your body sensation, physical body sensation. And some of them were breath focus, where you can just breathe for 10 seconds and focus on your breath. Then another one was visual focus, when you take one object, let's say I would take my phone, and I would just focus on my phone and just see the colors, maybe the background I have here, how those colors are there, and just really study whatever object you have in your hand. That's another way how you can become mindful. Or even another way can be sounds. So you can listen to the closest sound to you. Maybe it's your breath or maybe something else, and the farthest sound from you. Maybe it's like the train in the background, or maybe birds in your garden. And by you shifting your attention on this physical sensation of hearing, you become more mindful and present, and you can become more tuned into this sage mode. So this is the way how you can weaken your saboteurs. And today we spoke about controller and hyperachiever. By you focusing on the physical sensation, you become more present and weaken these saboteurs. So that's a very good reminder, Dina. Thank you so much for sharing this. And I just want to really wish you good luck with these two saboteurs, and just make sure you ask yourself these questions with the controller. How can I make it more of a pull and less of a push? And with the hyperachiever, how I can become detached from the outcomes and make the journey more compelling. So enjoying the process. Good luck with this, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks in my mindset session, where I'm going to share 3 special mindset Christmas gifts with you. Thank you so much, everybody who has come to this session. It was my pleasure to share this with you. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye, bye, bye.